Good morning, humanity. Welcome to September 21st, 2020. And this is Mondays with Bev and Paul. And guess what? My name is Paul.
Hello, my name's Bev. Good
Oh,
morning.
what a wonderful greeting. That was good. All right. So we have another wonderful show. As I leave in the morning, Jenny always says, "What are you going to talk about?" And I went, "Oh, I don't know. It'll come to me." She says, "My God, I'd be working on it all week long." But if we did that, we would miss the opportune moments. And the opportune moment we're going to talk about today is the talk of love, respect, and equality. But
There we
first, we have a
go.
couple of holidays we're celebrating, aren't we, Bev?
Yes, it's interesting. I was thinking about this before the show. We're in the perfect time of the year to be speaking about this because tomorrow is the autumn equinox, when all things are equal. Day and
Interesting.
night is equal. And, this is a time of Libra, a time of relationships, of goodwill, of harmony and peace and beauty. And that's exactly what humanity is here to do, to optimize these in and on the planet. So perfect time for us to be
It is.
holding this together. Yeah.
And it's the Jewish New Year. Just
Yes.
started on Saturday, and so what a wonderful way to start the year. Well, of course, the Jewish New Year always comes around the equinox. People always
Right.
go, well, "How come? Why does it keep changing every year? What's wrong with you people?"
Oh, let's not go there.
And I'm like, "Oh, you have to understand, it's based on a lunar calendar, so it really matches the equinox and the new
Yeah.
moon time and all of that together. So this is perfect. Love, respect, and equality. And what pushed me to want to do something like this was, I watched the Emmys last night. I always like to watch what the masses of people are watching,
Yeah.
whether it's Super Bowl or the Emmys or I mean, I don't watch half those TV shows. I can't even get half of them. So,
Right.
because it's all on these other kind of formats. But the interesting thing was, of course, it was virtual and there was the main, place, but they went to people's homes. So all these actors and actresses and directors and things, they were all in their homes and one of the places, Schitt's Creek, they had all the people there. They had rented this big room, and they were all social distancing. But everybody was equal there. They were all from their home, and some people were dressed up. Some people didn't have their shoes on. And the dialogue, the main thing that all these presenters and even the people who received the Emmys talked about over and over and over was love. They kept using that word and equality and these things about working together and bringing love and respect and helping the young people understand this and I was like, the dialogue's changing.
Yeah. Well, it's supposed to. This is what we've been heading for a while. And we're speaking a language of what's called brotherhood, which is a keynote of this consciousness that humanity is opening up to. And those words, love, respect, equality, that's exactly what brotherhood is. And so we're right where we need to be. So we're developing, I think, well, we really don't know what love is. That's such a high, but we are aspiring to speak in a language of goodwill and this thought of equality together, and that's what's really important. We don't have to understand it, but as you know me, I'm always having to bring everything we talk about back to this amazing gift that we're holding here called biotouch. And I've said this for a long time. I've said this for a long time. Biotouch is going to be here already in place when humanity reaches a point where it speaks the language of the heart. And that is what is happening. And, you know, I'll just say, Paul and I, the reason we do these shows, we it's this is an invitation to join this revolution that's happening. And when we say put love into action, this is through this light, loving touch how we can do that, bring ourselves into equality and brotherhood.
Yes.
So I'm always reminded of, my hero, Bruce
Yeah,
Lipton.
right.
He literally talks about biotouch when he says that we have the power to change the story of our cells in our body. But here's the key: the story has to be retold with love. And that's what BioTouch is here to do. It's already here.
It's amazing, and it's already here. It reminds me, and I'll say this story again, when we did our first training out there in Mancos, Colorado. And there was a lot of turmoil out there. You had people who were the fights in the division was incredible, but all these people would come together with BioTouch, and they loved it because they all said, and all of them were very opinionated kinds of people, that what they loved about BioTouch is it sort of bypassed the ego and all your isms and all your divisions. And I'll never forget at the end of one of these programs, this old retired CIA agent stood up and he goes, "Look, I just need to let you know I've been involved in a lot of revolutions around the world, but I have never seen one as powerful as what's happening here." That's 33 years ago almost.
Yeah.
And he said, because this one is based on love.
There you go. He said it.
And basically that's all I've been looking for since I've been in my 20s, this way to express love without all the isms. And that's what happened in that little house in Mancos, Colorado. People were coming from all over the four corners and all in this house together and getting work done because they all had something in common. They were suffering. That's the common denominator of humanity. We're suffering, but now it's time. It's, as you were saying, the stars are set up.
Yeah.
The planets are aligned, for us as a humanity to start talking about it and then practicing it. And just using that word, as you said, changes the dynamics in the brain.
Yeah. True.
So
here we are.
So we also have somebody who reminded us of BioTouch being that expression. You said put love into action. We have our little book here, BioTouch Healing with the Power in Our Fingertips by Deborah Schildhouse. We still have copies you can buy, and we always love to read this little part here from the preface. Isn't it the preface? No.
Forward.
The forward. Preface, forward, FLA. Anyhow, from the beginning of the book.
Yeah, right.
Gary Schwartz, who did our first research on BioTouch, and interestingly enough, one of the main questions we had was, how cared for do you feel? And people pre and post session felt amazingly cared for. That's the beginning of putting love into action. We just need to start feeling like we're cared for.
Oh boy, no kidding.
So he says, the second lesson is somewhat deeper and frankly more inspiring to me, and maybe to you as well. The lesson relates to a theme expressed through Deborah's book, the importance of love and the process of receiving and giving non-sexual loving touch. The kind of love that BioTouch fosters is a high level of love, including empathy, compassion, caring, kindness, gentleness, protection, safety, warmth, gratitude, appreciation, and respect. There it is. And then he goes on to say something interesting in relation to our Bruce Lipton quotes. This is the kind of love that I emphasize in workshops I give at Canyon Ranch, entitled Awakening the Power Within, Achieving Optimal Health Through Energy Healing. I teach the guests the core principle: energy flows where the loving mind goes.
Oh boy. There you go.
That's
Perfect.
where the loving mind goes. If I
Yeah.
do that point, I'm thinking about presenting love to the recipient. And there's a, a flow that happens. It's not just me healing somebody. There's a
No.
process where we're both elevating our health, our hormone system, our endocrine system, uh, changing the thought patterns in both of the recipient and the practitioner. We've always talked about that.
Oh, yes. And, when we were talking about we might not know what love, that high essence is, it doesn't matter because we're actually at least aspiring to hold something that is new, and yet always has been.
Right.
This is like bringing out in us who we've always been. And I think that's one of the powerful things about BioTouch. Love is a consciousness. And what are we always saying about BioTouch is brings to us a self-awareness, encourages the growth of self-awareness that is a consciousness, so that we can actually step in and consciously, with deliberate goodwill, care about another human being. That's the incredible gift of BioTouch for each and every one of us.
And in one sense, really, if you think about it, it's the only reason we're here. I mean, what the
Yeah.
hell? The rest of it's just who knows how we came to do it, but it's a show, it's our own story, whether we chose it, whether it's given to us, how we got into it. And I think what's beautiful and happening now in that is we're waking up to each other's story. I mean, the internet, it's like
Oh,
instantaneous. We're in the stories.
absolutely.
And what's wonderful is people are using their format, whether you're an actor or a sports player, or whether you're on the streets in a protest or at a political rally. It's time that people are just starting to talk about this respect and love for one another.
Yeah.
Working together, the planet, working to help heal the planet. Whether
Right.
we believe in whatever, the planet is it's sick and we need to, and it reflects on us in our sickness. And so by bringing love into ourselves and into the planet and helping the next generation learn something like BioTouch as just a means to express, to put that love into action, that's the only reason I think Bev and I dedicate ourselves every Monday to be here to talk about it.
Right. Well, and I just might say that this keynote of brotherhood goes, when you were talking about the planet, this brotherhood goes beyond just this human kingdom here. There's other life forms here that make up the whole nature of the experience of this planetary life. So that brotherhood goes to all of the different forms in life. That's part of that consciousness, that self-awareness that begins to happen. We become conscious of all of life in this amazing place where, this supports our, where we love and where we care and where we work here, this planetary life. We're here to help that, not be the problem.
You're right. And really, it can all be as simple as starting with these two fingers, lightly touching
There.
another human being.
Yes.
That's all you have to do. And interestingly, because those 2 points that we do in that greeting, it's going right to that heart center. I mean, it's going right to the heart and it just brings everything together and it creates a relationship of love, respect, and equality. It's been our rah rah words from the beginning. And so it really only takes having to do it. You don't have to believe anything we're saying. In fact, you should never believe a guy who's balding and has a beard. So, it's like find out for yourself.
Yeah.
It doesn't hurt to try it and see and experience what can happen by just reaching out and taking 30 seconds out of your day just to do the greeting, let alone then adding things to help you with your lungs or your heart or your back or your pains or your arthritis or the list goes on and on. Go to our website, justtouch.com, and there's a whole list of conditions, just the beginning of the ones that we can start to help you care for. And if you have any questions, you can call us or send us an email. We'll take you personally through it. There's no charge really for this. How can you charge people for something, as you said, they already possess?
Yeah.
This ability to help another human being. So we always want to make sure we teach a little bit. We're just going to show you here the headset of just the A and A, the beginning, with a front and the back. Just by doing the greeting and the headset, transformation can happen. So let's share this, and then we might talk a little more about it.
The headset can be used to address conditions related to the brain. There are 4 steps in this set. In step 1, use through-fire to touch points A and A. Point A on the back of the head is in the center of the neck at the base of the skull. Point A on the front of the head is at the center of the forehead, where the forehead begins to curve to the crown.
So that is all you need to do to begin a process of healing. We talk about changing the brain cells. The greeting, right? A and A.
From the front to the back, through the brain.
And we've heard from many things about trauma and dissociation and emotional, psychological problems are because the front and the back lobes of the brain they're not connecting. They're not communicating. Well, I think BioTouch can help that communication, bring us back to understanding in the deepest sense of our being, love, respect, and equality for ourselves, for the planet, for the universe. There's all these shows out about Mars now. I don't know if you've been seeing them. Oh my gosh, this whole movement to Mars and how Mars actually was this time where there probably were maybe people living there because it had life form, and and so now it's sort of like they're going back there because they're worried about the extinction here. And it's sort of
you know what I've always said, let's take care of where we are, because we'll screw up where we're going if we're not careful.
Right. Unless we're actually people that came from Mars when it was extinct there, and now we're going back because we're making extinct here, and who knows where the hell we've been or where we're going.
I don't know. I come from Jupiter, so
right.
What the heck?
I've always been told I'm an alien, so
pod. You're a pod.
I'm a pod.
You're a love pod.
I don't care if you live in Mars or Jupiter or in the 10,000 million universes. These 2 fingers can reach out and touch somebody.
Yep.
If you're not there, think about doing it. Think about somebody doing it on you. Join us for some of our workshops and our classes. We have a wonderful workshop coming up here on Thursday.
Yes.
Brad Hunstable and Gary De Rodriguez. Brad's, we're going to talk about childhood and adolescent isolation.
Oh.
There's a lot of information. I just saw an article about the huge rise in childhood suicide. And that's what happened to Brad. His son, who was 12 or 13, right after the isolation, committed suicide. And he's dedicated his life to bringing that awareness. And Gary's hooked up with him on what can we do as families to help bring love, respect, peace, calmness, caring. And Gary is really supercharged about putting BioTouch into his modules. So it's going to be a wonderful dialogue. We're going to try and have all 4 of us on there together before they give their presentation. Then we're going to just teach a couple sets of points. Yep. So join us 6 p.m. Tucson, Arizona time. It'll be live stream. Of course, it'll always be put on our YouTube and on our website so you can see it later on. And we do have a class coming up in October, a virtual class. So we hope that you'll want to join us for that. And if you have never taken our certification class and want to get certified, that's coming up in November. We're going to do that virtually too. We're just going virtual because we care.
We do.
That's care.
The way of the world. We're part of the whole movement here.
Yep, and it's allowing us to expand globally even more so. So we appreciate you showing up, hanging out with us. Thank you, Bev. I love that. And we're going to share with you the song, Put Love into Action by Horace Barnes. See you all next week.
Have a great week, everyone.
If pain has got you down and you live in town, take a trip down to Pima Street. The people down there are people who care. They will get you back on your feet. Put love into action. Put love into action. If you ever want to have any real satisfaction, choose love while you still can. Don't even try to understand. A healing grace in your own hands. Put love into action.